Hi, Kathy.
Call the meeting to order. First up on the agenda is Honolulu Fire Department. Do we have someone here from the fire department? Hearing none, we can move on to the Honolulu Police Department. First up, we have District 1. I think I saw Lieutenant Sagusio.
Good evening, Chair Smith and everyone in attendance. Lieutenant Arnold Sagusio, representing the Honolulu Police Department, District 1, Community Every Responsibility. I apologize for taking my the meeting tonight at our on-street forward operating base, but as you guys all know, duty calls. So thank you for you guys' time and patience. The information provided today represents the total amount of cases for you guys' area. For more statistical information, you guys can go to the HPD public website at www.honolulupd.org. The statistical information for the month of September 2023 is as follows. Motor vehicle thefts is 13, previous was 3. Burglaries was 1, previous was 3. Thefts 7, previous 6. UMVs or car break-ins were 4, previous to that was 6. Assaults were 1, previous to that was 2. Sex assaults was 0, previous was 1. Graffiti was 0, previous to that was 1. Drug offenses for this month was 0, and the previous was 1. Total calls for service for your area was 707 calls. Previous to that was 681. So I looked into the auto thefts for the area due to the numbers spiking to 13 from 3 from the previous month. But I looked into these auto thefts, and most of these auto thefts were not true auto thefts. Some of them were overdue Turo vehicles. Some of the vehicles were accidentally towed, or some other situation like the husband borrowed the car and didn't tell the wife, kind of stuff. So in actuality, those numbers were actually lower. So I think there were only about maybe 6 or 7 of them that were actually true auto thefts. So I don't see any major concern for this crime category. Yeah, there's no criminal breaches to report at this time. So the safety tip for the month of October will be for the Halloween season in regards to tampered candies and treats. We are asking our community members to be very diligent in checking candies before allowing our keiki, and even ourselves, before we even consume them. Yeah. So choose homes and neighbors you folks know and or go to major shopping malls. They'll be having candy handout events for this Halloween. Honolulu Police Department has guidelines and protocols in place for making notifications and for handling of these types of investigations. Yeah. However, we all know the prevention is always the best solution. So just make sure we check those candies. Yeah. At this point in time, I'm going to yield back the rest of my time and take any questions from the board members and the public attendees.
Are there any questions from the board for Lieutenant Sagusio? Mason.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you, Lieutenant, for all you've been doing in this area here. We've called the police several times this month, and we got a quick response. The only one we had that was kind of disappointed, because when you call 911, it doesn't ring, and you get a busy signal. So I had to hang up because you just hear a busy signal. But then the police came by, and I explained to him what happened. And so I told him what I called for. And so they took care of it. So I thank you again for an excellent job so far.
Yeah, no problem, Mason. Thank you for supporting us all the time. In regards to like calling 911 dispatch, sometimes we get high calls of service during certain particular times of the day. We're also seeing shortages in the dispatch division also. So our call takers are, if I'm not mistaken, on duty, there's usually only 3 call takers. And you can imagine all the calls from the entire island have to route through those three people, yeah. But yeah, just continue to call. We'll come out and service you. In fact, every night I work, I drive past your house.
Yeah, I see that sometimes. And I saw last night, I saw one guy come down the street, and then he turned around and he parked facing outwards towards the street, towards the park, with his blue light on, but he was just watching for the cars that park illegally on the Milimili Street on the park side of the road. So I don't know who that was, who that police was, but I thank him. I don't know how long he stayed, but that was the first time I seen somebody do that, and I thank you guys very much for that. Was that
No, I
you?
mean,
That wasn't you, huh?
no, that wasn't me. That was actually Officer Jordan Aureliano and
Oh,
Corporal Ian Ibrao. I usually tell him that, hey, this guy Mason, he might be handing out candy, so just try to stop by his house.
oh, now you got me going. I got to go to the store tomorrow. Thanks again very much for all your help.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from the board?
Kathy.
I'm sorry.
Kathy.
Kathy,
Yeah, hi.
please.
Thank you. Thank you again. Yeah, like Mason, I echo. Thank you so much and you're so eloquent and articulate and to the point, and we really appreciate your reporting as well as your hard work. But I just wanted to bring up the fact that up on Pacific Heights, there have been now 3 areas, and sorry I didn't get the note down the addresses, I can get them, where there seem to be abandoned cars collecting. And then they actually get towed away within a pretty good period of time. So I just wondered, did we just call? I mean, they don't have, a lot of them have no license plate, which is what alerts us to the fact that it's abandoned. And so, and then we just see them, day after day, they're just there.
Yeah, usually if you live in a neighborhood, you can pretty much kind of tell which vehicles don't belong in the area. So Kathy, continue to call. We'll come out. We'll issue out the citations. We'll go and mark those vehicles for you. But so when we do cite the vehicle and then we usually mark them, usually 24 hours, they're supposed to be getting onto a log. So if you get onto the city and county website, the city and county log, because when we go on there and we put the vehicles on, they kind of push the responsibility or the time to check those vehicles a little bit back. But when they get community members complaints through that same website, they usually address it within a day or two. So it is an abandoned vehicle. I don't have the website per se, but it's on the city and county of Honolulu abandoned vehicle website. And if you can just put address, you can leave your name anonymous as long as it's coming from the community, and license plate, vehicle description, how long it's been there, and then usually a person from the abandoned vehicle section will come out and address that vehicle as soon as possible.
Okay, but it's a lot of them have no license plate. The license plates have been removed. So just give a description and location.
Yes, so no problem with that. You just give a vehicle, the vehicle description, truck, the color, and then the abandoned vehicle, or even us. So if it doesn't have a plate, you should call us, because that way we can research that, right? But if you guys look on the bottom of a safety check sticker, on the bottom of the safety check sticker, there should be a VIN number attached to that sticker. So even getting the VIN, but I wouldn't suggest you going to the car, writing on the VIN. If it doesn't have a license plate, it's not safe. Just give us a call. We'll come out for you, Kathy, ASAP, and address that situation.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board? Any questions from the community?
Paula.
Paula.
I want to tell you, thank you. You look like the king in that special chair or whatever you're sitting in. Oh, what a special time. Thank you for coming, though. I lost my voice celebrating my birthday. So if you don't understand me, then Joydell will let you know what I said, okay? Hopefully.
Happy birthday, Paula.
Oh, thank you. I'm getting old. I get the Chinese. I want the Chinese disease. You know what that is? Too young.
Oh.
I want to be too young. But I got the Japanese disease, so gay. That's age. Got that right? Okay. Anyway, this is my list of everything I'm supposed to ask you folks tonight. Now, I talked to Zoidell, and I don't know to repeat it to you, then District 5, then under citizens controls or whatever. Is it okay for me to read it all one time now? Or am I going to be in trouble, Zoidell? The first one is, he already told me I got to read it.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. Because I don't want to waste your time 3 times, because some people are going to get tired of me, and they'll say, good, you you got that voice. You know what I mean? So the lady who called several times, she was having problems with getting graffiti cleaned up on the Poly Highway. She called it in, just like you said, to 311, through 911 to 311, and they told her, oh, we don't take care of that. So she called the graffiti hotline, and they said somebody in the graffiti hotline retired, so they don't take care of that stuff either. So, in order to straighten this out as far as procedures are concerned, can you address what are you supposed to do when we get all this nasty graffiti coming up the Poly and coming up from Nuuanu Avenue? Because I know no one in Paoa has graffiti, right? Except in front of what's his face's house. I saw it all over. So, anyway, what do we do? How do we do it procedurally so no one gets confused? Because we all old now. We got the AGE. So, um, can you tell us, repeat what you said before? Because it
So
doesn't seem to be working. Because those people that do Ghostbusters or whatever it is for graffiti, they don't seem to exist anymore. Is that true? I don't know.
So normally what we do is we ask our community members to contact the graffiti hotline, and then same thing like with the abandoned vehicle section, right? There's a person over there that will delegate all of that work to be done, because there's state lands and there's city lands. So that person at the graffiti hotline will figure out, look through the tax maps, figure out who's responsible for that area, and then send out the responsible people for it. I know we've done some graffiti cleanups on the freeway, but that's state DOT. So in regards to the Poly Highway, it might be state DOT as well. And
Right.
usually, yeah. So usually when we send in the work request, somebody usually emails us back, and then they kind of give us a work order number so that we can relate it back to the community members. But just like I said, I think they work more diligently when they get the call from a community member rather than from another agency in the Honolulu City and County and stuff like that. But you guys keep calling us. We'll come out. We'll assess the graffiti size and stuff like that, and then we'll route it to the right people.
The lady, whoever it was, we haven't recorded, was not very nice when she answered the graffiti hotline. Is that because somebody retired and they don't know what to do? Didn't seem to know the procedures, blah, blah, blah. So, not to be low, but I think maybe somebody needs to look at what's going on over there versus you folks. Okay?
Yeah, I'll go check into that, and I'll relate it back to the chair, and then
And I can give you the name of the person if you want to call me. I can give so she can tell you her story because she was all in tears about what to do, because it's just driving her crazy as far as the graffiti across the street from her. And
yeah.
then number two. So I'm repeating it not but once, right? Zodell. On on October 21st, there will be a meeting for the Halloween happening in the Dowsett Circle at 5 o'clock, and you're invited. 5 o'clock at 60 Dowsett Avenue for all the men with Officer NG. I don't know how to say that because I'm Howley and I don't know any NG. And he's going to be there to help the men learn what to do about parking. Now, women are more than likely to come because you need women to tell you what to do, right? So I hope the women are there because we want everybody to learn the education of what the police department wants us to know. And that will be a repeat 21st. That's this coming Saturday at 5 o'clock at Matt Tenay's house. And he owns 60 Dowsett. It's his call number, okay? Then, because of that, we will have on the 29th a pet parade in the Dowsett Circle. Anyone having a pet, a tortoise, a pig, whatever, 10 o'clock in the morning, they're going to do the circle. And for doing that, you register at 155 Dowsett. And we would love to have any of the police that have pets to come. They want towels, they want beds, they want things to give to dogs and cats. cleaning products, and then especially monies if you want to donate. And all the monies for our thing that comes up every year, which we hadn't had, we had last year, but not the years before. All that money goes to the Humane Society and you can claim it. So then you come to Halloweeny and everybody come out for Halloweeny and enjoy the Dowsett Circle. We usually have between 500 and 700 people. So if you want to come, you have to come early, 4:30. And we want people in the area to keep a watch out so we don't have anybody coming in that's strange or suspicious, okay? Now, anybody going to training with Matt, he needs to let you know what to do and how to do it so we don't cross over into what the police do, okay? Then for, I told you about coming early, what else was it? Graffiti. On the 26th, the Hawaiian Stream Committee will be meeting, and I thought the police might be interested because I'm trying to unite the Hawaiian Stream people because they're going to have a meeting at Queen Elma. Because, you know, sometimes burglaries occur for people coming up from the stream. So if we educate everyone that they might understand that we can unite the neighborhood board, the Hawaiian Stream Committee, and the Neighborhood Security Watch together. So we're totally, each person is knowing what to do. Okay? I think I covered everything. The only other thing is we've got small dog running around in Pu'upaka. Oh, but that would be for District 5. Let's see. Then you know that the bus 121 is being canceled, which will be later on in the meeting. But the police need to know if somebody's really in severe problems. You need to know that 121 and 04, nobody's there. Okay? And I think that's District 5 coming in. We have a strange thing going on where my boss says that we've got an increase in crime in our area. And then I heard what you were saying. So everybody better watch out and look out and see who's sitting in front of your house with the car running. And now we're having a problem with people coming with their Bible and coming, but there's not one car, there's two cars. So we had 2 recent burglaries. No, actually three burglaries. And we want to make sure that people understand. You go to the door and you answer it and nobody's there because they're looking in your windows. Wake up and smell the birds. You know what I mean? No, flowers, right? Okay, so I covered as much as I can at this point without talking too much because my voice is going away. Thank you for this. And come to Halloween and wear your costumes so no one knows who you are. We're still working on the food if we can get food for the police, but I don't know if anybody's gonna cook. Not me though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Paula. I think that was supposed to be 3 minutes, but that's okay.
I gotta
Anyway.
talk.
No worries. Good topics. Are there any
Sorry, I
other
got
questions?
no confession. Sorry.
Oh,
Okay.
no worries. Are there any other questions or concerns that anybody wants to ask or relay to the lieutenant? Robert.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, Lieutenant Sagucio. I'd just like to request if you might be able to have an opportunity or if you would look into having a discussion with your superiors on behalf of being able to somehow cite Honolulu Disposal Service when they leave their dumpsters in front of the bus stop. I know it's a transit-only lane and ticketing a vehicle and having it towed is common practice, but we're up against someone who's using an object to obstruct safe entry and exit onto the bus. For example, Sunday, the dumpster was left until beyond 3 p.m. And when they normally pick it up between 4 and 6 a.m., That's roughly at least 10 hours sitting in front of the bus stop and obstructing safe entry and exit. And like this morning, there was 2 dumpsters placed in front of the bus stop. And it's an ongoing problem, and we're addressing it with the board. So I believe next month, the chair is inviting Carl to join us in our neighborhood board meeting. But I'd like to request if you can speak to your superiors and perhaps come up with an opportunity where the company can be cited whenever there's an obstruction. So I'm sure the police officers are driving by and noticing these dumpsters there. And there doesn't seem to be at this point an opportunity to somehow cite the principal. Well, you're not catching the agent on site, but the dumpster belongs to the company and the company is the principal. And so if there's an opportunity that might be able to be another way for enforcement. So I'd just like to request if you can talk with your seniors and see if there's an opportunity to cite the principal for leaving their objects in the transit-only lane and continual abuse.
Absolutely, Robert. Let me go talk. Let me go speak with my command staff. And one question again. When is Carl supposed to be meeting with you folks? Because I would want to be in that if possible.
I believe chair is extending an invitation, so I'm hoping next month. I
would hope so. We shall see. We weren't very successful with the city departments, but we'll talk about that. But yeah, hopefully next month I can get some representative from the company to come talk to us. We'll see.
Yeah, if possible, because we've been kind of monitoring ourselves, but it's kind of difficult because just like I was telling Robert in the last meeting, usually right around that times. I mean, if you're saying that the cans are out there for 10 hours, I mean, we should have seen them. However, yeah, I mean, we just got to do a better job at it. I'm not going to make any excuses.
Yes. Okay.
Well,
I appreciate it.
Sorry. What I'll do, Lieutenant, is if I'll let you know as soon as I know something, and then that way you can be involved also if you'd like to.
Absolutely.
And just for a reminder, Lieutenant, it is obstruction to ADA privileges, which public transportation is protected under the Americans with Disabilities Act. So obstructing the bus stop is an ADA violation. So I would really appreciate it if you could talk to your superiors and see if we can do something besides vehicles. When people leave their objects in transit-only lanes, how can we stop the abuse? Thank you, Lieutenant, and happy Halloween.
You too, Robert. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from anybody? Lieutenant, thank you very much for coming. We appreciate your service, and thanks for being so dedicated to our community. We very much appreciate it.
Absolutely. You guys all have a great night.
You too. Thank you. Next up, we have Honolulu Police Department District 5. Do we have a representative from District 5?
I'm here. Hi,
Yes,
my name
please
is.
go ahead.
My name is Keone Hong, representing Lee. The stats for the month of September 2023: for burglaries, we had 1 compared to 5 in August. Motor vehicle thefts, 4 compared to 6. Thefts, there's 7 compared to 5, and car break-ins, there are 15 compared to 18. Still in the same location near the Huli lookouts, those side lookouts. I checked for the month of October. It seemed to have slowed down. So I'm not sure if somebody got arrested. It was kind of a island-wide thing regarding car break-ins. And then total calls for service, there were 910 in September compared to 908 in August. I don't think I had any follow-up questions from last week or last month. So if there are new questions, I'm available at this time.
Are there any questions from the board? Paula.
Hi, my name is Paula. Oh, it's clearing up my voice. Sorry. I just want to ask you, we did have 3, 4, or 5 incidences where I got the calls, and we did have 4 shooting incidences up Kahawalu, Kahuhinani area where there was shooting at midnight, and called in and said that everybody was all worried because why were they shooting at that hour? And then there were 2 trucks with trackers for dogs for the PIGS in Nuuanu. So I'm wondering, are these people getting cited because they're shooting in an area that's supposed to be only bow and arrow? And that was Kahawalu area. Not Kauhinani area, next to Chemo Bridge area. Okay, and then in the Pu'upaka, I don't know if you know what that is, Pu'upaka above Neolapua, there has been a big, huge house built where we've had a lot of activity. But when they're coming to work on the house for now a number of months, the lady told me how many months, they bring a small dog, and that small dog runs around all day barking at people, and he's a worker at the place, and he gets close to people and they're worried about biting. Now, when police have been called, they have the police, I don't know, according to her, they have not come to cite this man for bringing his dog to work. That's in Pu'upaka, and that happened as yesterday too, because he brings it every day. Pu'upaka, Nilopua, and Kama'aina. Yes. Okay, and then for us, on what was it? We also be seeing a truck, an SPB 260 great truck. We want to know who that is cruising the area, but we can't find out, except there must be something going on. And the lady is calling it in because she has the cameras and sees a lot of this stuff. And my boss is telling me our crime is up. So just to let you folks know that we are up too. And then I already told Lieutenant Segusio about Halloween, and you folks are more than welcome to come with Officer NG. And then the meeting for that police to come is this 21st Saturday at 5 o'clock at 60 Dowsett. Repeating myself, 60 Dowsett at Matt Tenay's house, who's going to teach everybody what to do and how to do it. With
Paula, I think you've already gone through that, so.
Right. I just want to make sure he hears it.
Okay.
Yes.
And then
Okay, thank you.
And then the other part of it is that we want to thank you for getting to know us more and more, please. Not that we want crime, but we want to get to know you folks. So anybody needs a place to park, you can call me and park in front of my house where you got to do reports or whatever. Thank you.
Thank you.
Aloha. Aloha.
Are there any other questions? Audrey?
I don't have a question, but Officer, thank you. What I want to tell you is not in our area, but it is in Kalihi. So on the corner of near Dillingham and Kalihi Street with Colburn and Howe and Kalani, please thank the officers that constantly come out when we call them to chase away the homeless. Please thank them. It's very important that you thank them because they're very responsive and we appreciate it. Okay?
Thank you. Are there any other questions from the board? Are there?
Paul is
Paula?
These last 2 days of getting calls regarding the church at Lower Dowsett, where the homeless are going in there and sleeping at night. Sometimes many ukuplenni people, men, and then sometimes it's only one. Last night it was only one. So people are going over there, and I'm afraid somebody's going to get hurt because they're not supposed to be in there at all. Laying in the back patio, and I've talked to the minister of the church, and he's being aware of it also. But if you are in the area and you want to patrol, you might want to check Lower Dowsett at the Baptist International Church. And we also have still the tour cars parked on Henry Street. As far as they're running a company out of there and parking their cars on Henry. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions from anybody for this?
I have a question, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Thank you. Officer Wong, I was just wondering, there was a time where I spent some time up Nuuanu, and in hopes of deterring some of the criminal activity. So I was wondering, would the police department be in support of a nonprofit setting up a vending booth at a place like the Pali Lookout, so someone is there during the daylight hours that can help to deter criminal activity, and also the hiking trail right before the Pali. I know my friends and I had talked about the problem of that. And I forget the name of the hiking trail right now. I believe you know which one. Right before the Pali, and at one point it was the highest criminal activity was happening there. So just in our own circle, we were trying to figure out a way to deter activity. So we would go up there and we would set up. But you know, these things need to be worked out with the city. But is that something the police department would support? Is that a nonprofit put up a small vending booth and man the place like the Pali Lookout and the trail up there, so we can help deter the criminal activity?
Well, I think anything the public can do to help, probably process vending booth, you know. But then,
Luke,
yeah.
sir, your video and audio is coming in and out a little bit, just so you know.
Yeah, I think somebody else's audio might be on. Maybe. Is it better now?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so anything that the public can help, of course, we would be in support of. The vending part of it, I'm sure you'd probably have to go through the permitting process to have a booth. But yeah, I don't see why that would be negative. You know, more, especially if it's a hike.
Thank you. Thank you. Paula.
I just want to say that we did have patrols up there at one point, and we also got a camera up there, but somebody would bust the camera, and it was given to us by the Honolulu but the Waikiki section, and both cameras were broken. So if there is a lot of stuff going on there again with increased graffiti, baseball bats on the backs of the cars and stuff, maybe you want to include more trips up to the Poly. But we did have that, and we got the crime put down. But if it's starting again, that one was real serious with messing up there. The Hawaiians are supposed to be up there praying, so that's not good. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or concerns we want to relate to District 5? Hearing none, thank you very much, Officer. We appreciate your time and time for coming out this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Neighborhood Security Watch. Paula, did you kind of cover everything, or you want to add anything?
No, I don't want to
Paula?
talk too much. My voice is going away, but I think I covered everything. There might be one or two things, but I think the rest of the Nuuanu area can handle. Thank you. Just be careful. Be careful.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from anybody regarding Neighborhood Security Watch? Hearing none, we'll move on to Board of Water Supply. Would you like to come over here? Iris Oda is in the house. So let me switch.
So hi, I'm Iris Oda from the Board of Water Supply. I actually came in person for the first time, and this will be my last time, unless I fill in. I'm introducing Jimmy Llanos. He'll be taking over for me. So he'll be doing the report and answering questions or follow-ups.
Great. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jimmy. I'll be representing Board of Water Supply for the month of September. There are no main breaks to report, so speak up. Okay. There aren't any main breaks to report for September, so I'll move on to our general water announcements. I'm going to be talking about our Imagine a Day Without Water event. You are invited by Board of Water Supply and its partners for this year's Imagine a Day Without Water event. The location is the Freshwater State Recreation Area in Wahiawa. The date is this Saturday, October 21st, 2023, and the time is from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Here are the event details. There will be more than 15 city, state, and community organization booths with interactive activities on site. You'll get to learn about the importance of One Water and the impacts of climate change today and in the future. Please join us for rain barrel and native seed workshops, xeriscape plant craft activity, freshwater fishing activities, and making Genki balls, a bioremediation that removes pollutants from soil and water. Plus, eat Ono food, play games, and win small prizes. More information can be found at www.portawatersupply.com/onewaterhawaii. That is our general water announcements, and now I'm gonna follow up on some concerns from the last meeting. One concern, there's four. Yeah. First concern was, please explain why there are diagonal white painted lines at the intersection of Alika and Wood. It needs to be repainted. Our response is, the white lines indicate the area around the patch that will be paved by a BWS contractor. The diagonal lines make it look like a speed bump to remind motorists to slow down as they approach it. The BWS will check the patch periodically and address any issues that may arise. Signage has been positioned in the area to remind motorists of the rough road conditions. And final paving is scheduled to be completed by the end of October, possibly sooner.
Wrong.
It's not in the October.
It was done
Oh,
already.
it's done
That's
already.
what you guys-
Oh. Excuse us, sorry. It was done already.
Sorry about that. That's fine. Okay. So our second concern was, please provide a project status update, including an estimated time frame when construction will be completed, the work being done on Kaniali'i to Lusitana. So supplies for lateral installation have been delayed. The contractor will continue to work with the materials that they have on hand, and the project is anticipated to be completed pending the delivery of materials by April 2024. This includes final paving and striping. Okay. Our third concern was, why has the contractor dug up the same area on Kaniali'i Avenue 3 times? The contractor must first have the road probed and inspected to locate existing utilities to avoid damaging them during construction. Once complete, the contractor carefully excavates the required depth to the required depth and installs the new water main and hydrants. The contractor will return at a later date to connect the service lines. And finally, just an update on the water systems improvements project in Lower Nuuanu. The BWS reviewed all submitted bids, and the construction job was awarded, and a contract was executed to RMY Construction, Inc. on April 10, 2023. Please note the contractor has requested to push out the notice to proceed date to February 2nd, 2024 due to delays with pipe materials. This is at no additional cost to BWS. The project still needs approval from the State Historic Preservation Division, SHPD. At this time, we are still pending approval from SHPD. We have received comments and are working to resubmit additional information as required. And lastly, due to agency approvals and material supply shortages, we are not able to determine the exact time when work will begin. However, we estimate it won't be until early 2024, barring any unforeseen circumstances. That is the conclusion of our report.
Do we have any questions for Board of Water Supply? Audrey, sorry, she's here. Please speak up.
Iris, thank you very much for your service, and thank you very much for putting up with me. So you told him about what I almost expect every month, right? Okay. And then Mr. Jimmy, welcome.
Hello.
So hopefully Iris told you, so I'm mainly interested in the Lower Nuuanu Avenue job that was awarded to RMY. And the pushback date, push forward date, blah, blah, blah. So if, monthly, if you can kind of tell us, because those of us in that area have gone through so many water breakages, it's just terrible already, so keep an eye on that. So the one with the white lines on the corner of Wood and Alika, that was done already, but can you tell Mr. Lau, the last meeting, Mr. Ernie Lau said that usually the work is done by an outside vendor within 30 days. Tell him, if I look at my calendar, it was 31 or 32 days, tell him he was wrong. Yeah. But it is nicely fixed, and the turning radius is very, very well done, tell him that. But he lied when he told me it's within 30 days. Tell him somebody's watching. So about the Canali one, maybe Sylvia or somebody else can add in, but I'm very interested in that Lower Nuuanu, so that can be reported and update on the means. I would appreciate it. And welcome. And thank you again, Ms. Iris, and good luck to the other boards.
Do we have any other questions from the board?
Mason. Hi, Patrick.
Mason. Mason, go ahead, please.
Hi, Iris. They keep digging up Kanali'i or repairing those pipes or whatever they're doing. Also, they put in those metal plates on the ground, and they're not really secure. So when the cars drive past, buses pass by, it goes clink, clink, clink all hours of the night. And I'm sure the neighbors on Kanali'i hear that all night long. So maybe they should secure those plates a little bit better so you don't make noise going over them things, because they're dangerous. I have heard plenty of people getting flat tires because they go over those things.
Yeah, definitely let our construction sections help the right people. They should secure it better.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting us know.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for letting us know.
Paula.
I just want to tell the Board of Water Supply, I was told by the head of the Hawaiian Stream Committee that on this Thursday, the 26th, there will be a showing of a preview of the questions about the streams, and I think Water Supply can possibly be in attendance at 5 o'clock at Queen Emma Summer Palace. It's a learning episode for all of you to learn about it and learn about how precious the streams and the Hawaiis are. Water Supply, talks about cleaning, but this group, Hawaiian Stream Committee, which I started 34 years ago, Lisa Wong is in charge, and she wants to educate everyone in the area on what to do about the Hawaiian Stream. So you folks are more than welcome to come Queen Emma on the 26th at 5 o'clock.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any other questions from the board? Do we have any questions from? Sorry.
Kathy. And Sylvia.
Sylvia. Sylvia?
I had to unmute and the thing wasn't working. Aris, twice, 2 weeks ago, twice in 1 week, I think somebody must have turned off my water, because when I turned it on in the latter part of the day, the water had, sputters out of the pipe. And it happened twice in that same week. So is that somebody came and touched my meter and I should report it to the police? Or how do I know if Board of Water Supply did something?
Do you have a date of when this happened, or around when it happened?
Do you have the date that it might have occurred, that it occurred last week?
Oh, no, I don't. I didn't keep it because I was doing something and I didn't jot it down, but it was twice because my daughter asked me when she turned on the water, if somebody had come and touched our water meter because, you know, the water came out like had air in it or something. And then a couple days later, it happened again. So, and it's been okay all this time. So I'll watch for it to see if somebody was in the neighborhood fooling around with my water meter.
Because if someone was coming to your home, we would have given you a notification and they would have left some kind of notification if they did come to your home. So if anything like that happens again, feel free to call the Board of Water Supply itself that day to ask, and at least they can have a date.
No, there was nothing unusual. And like I said, you know, I don't go outside the house and check everybody who's walking up and down the street anymore.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions from anybody for the Board of Water Supply? Hearing none, Iris, thank you very much. Jimmy, welcome to the team, I guess. But Iris, thank you very much.
Thanks.
We appreciate it. Next up, we have the filling of vacancies. We have 2 vacancies in the Punchbowl district. That's generally around Punchbowl. If there's anybody that might be interested in serving, we can verify the address at a later time. Is there anybody that would like to serve? Hearing none, we can move on. Next up, we have our public concerns, our community concerns. Is there anybody that would like to come forward with a community concern at this time?
Mike. Mike Plum.
Mike, yes, please.
Thank you. I just want to let the community know, I believe all the board members received this email from the Daughters of Hawaii. The Daughters of Hawaii are the nonprofit organization which is responsible for the care and maintenance of Queen Emma Summer Palace. They are currently conducting an auction of many items that were, I guess, in their care as a fundraiser to support the maintenance of the palace. So if people are interested in helping that fine charity and the nice bit of Hawaiian culture that it supports, please go to oahuauctions.com, and that auction is going through this Saturday, which is October 21st. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Yeah, it's actually, they have some really nice stuff, so I would highly encourage. So, you know, it's nice. Thanks, Mike. Are there any other community concerns? Anyone else like to speak? Okay, hearing none, we will move on. Our next item of business is our mayor's representative. We have Director Kim Nishira. Is she on the line?
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm here. So I wanted to just share some highlights from the mayor's newsletter, which I will include in the chat box. The mayor stands on enforcing public welfare laws. The ACLU lawsuit seeks to prohibit the city from enforcing public welfare laws and take away the city's ability to enforce laws that protect and safeguard the public. The city disagrees with the ACLU's lawsuit. Homelessness is a complex and pressing issue that affects us all, so the mayor wants to assure everyone that the city is committed to addressing this issue with compassion and empathy and will focus on finding long-term solutions. The Safe and Sound Waikiki initiative marks its first year. On September 5th, Mayor Blangiardi joined prosecuting attorney Steve Alm, Council Chair Tommy Waters, and various other community and law enforcement leaders to celebrate this first anniversary. There's also information regarding affordable housing. September was a busy month when it came to the city's plan to help facilitate the creation of new affordable housing units. Here are some of the projects that the city's been working on. Parkway Village in Kapolei, Kihapai Place in Kailua, and Hale Waiolu in Chinatown. Fire Prevention Week is from October 8th to October 13th. But wildland fire season is year-round in Hawaii. Drought conditions have increased the threat of fires across our island home. Please visit the Honolulu Fire Department's Instagram and Facebook pages daily during Fire Prevention Week for tips. And lastly, Oahu's parking meters were upgraded. Across Oahu, the city's credit card friendly on-street parking meters have been upgraded to better serve the public. These 4G connected parking meters were modernized to allow users to pay for parking safely, securely, and quickly. And by the end of the year, many of the coin-only meters will be upgraded to the new system as well. So I also had follow-up items. I do have some responses this month, so appreciate NCO's follow-up on this. So one of the items was regarding the stream cleanup request of shrubbery and rubbish near Nuuanu Pali Drive. And DFM reported that the tree that fell into the stream and damaged the wall on Nuuanu Pali Drive is on state land under the jurisdiction of DLNR. 2 letters were sent to state DLNR informing them of their responsibility to remove the tree from the stream area. They received a verbal response from the DLNR chairperson that a response would be forthcoming in September, but it was not received. Until the tree is removed and the stream cleaned, the wall cannot be constructed. So the city is awaiting state action. The second follow-up item was regarding concerns raised that Nuuanu Congregational Church was trimming trees and leaving debris behind. So DFM contacted the church and an inspection was conducted of the private stream area, and the tree branches and debris appear to have been removed. There was also a concern shared regarding removing the brush that was blocking the 20-mile-per-hour sign as you go up to Awa Umilo Street. There's a light that blinks when it's effect, and it is being blocked right now. So DFM reported that it will be scheduling removal of the tree blocking the speed light limit sign as soon as resources are available. Next, there was a request that a new street light is needed at Wood Street and Pali Highway. And it was noted that there's also no light at the bus stop either. So DDC checked these street lights and found that somehow they had reverted to their default setting and readjusted them to their maximum output. So the street lights in this area should be much brighter now. Regarding not having any light at the bus stop, the bus ridership statistics maintained by OTS were reviewed, and the bus confirmed that very low ridership at the bus stop located at Pali Highway and Wood Street does not support the installation of a special light at this location. Just so that the board is aware, ridership data for this bus stop indicates there's a daily average of less than 1 person boarding the bus and a little over 10 people disembarking from the bus at that location. There was also a concern raised about who controls pedestrian crosswalk lights on Pali Highway. The timing of the lights is too short, and there's a concern about seniors being able to safely cross Pali Highway. So although it was reported that DOT relayed that it's the city's responsibility The city responded that DOT actually controls the duration of the lights. However, the city will implement based on DOT's instruction. DTS, however, did check the pedestrian crossing time along Pali Highway between Jack Lane and Wakanaka Street and found that the crossing time is set appropriately. During the field check, DTS did observe the majority of pedestrians were following the pedestrian signals. However, a small number of pedestrians who started crossing when the hand was flashing could not complete the crossing before the signal changed. DTS wants to remind everyone that a pedestrian should only start to cross the street when the white walkman appears and it's safe to cross. Once the white walkman turns into a blinking red hand, you cannot continue to cross and you should not enter the crosswalk either. Because on average, someone will not have sufficient time to cross the street safely. And of course, when the solid red hand is displayed, no one should start crossing the street. Chair Smith mentioned about the invitation to DTS and the bus regarding providing video and camera evidence whenever a bus cannot pull up to the bus stop because of dumpsters. And as he mentioned, DTS and OTS responded that they're not able to attend the meeting. However, they did provide this information. They relayed that objectives of the mobile video surveillance system is to increase onboard safety and security for employees and the public, reduce criminal or other threatening behavior, vandalism, and theft aboard buses, reduce liability type complaints and other risk management issues, and reduce unsafe or inappropriate behavior by passengers and employees. Therefore, video is used internally for investigation purposes and only released to law enforcement agencies upon request or by court order. Therefore, the video will not be provided to the board as requested. The board could possibly collect their own video or camera evidence of dumpsters blocking the bus stop or the road. And DTS also confirmed that OTS relayed that bus operations in the Nuuanu Punchbowl area have not been impacted by dumpsters in the roadway. And lastly, enforcement and citing of property owners are not functions under DTS and OTS. And that was a long report, but I'm glad I was able to relay some information that was delayed from last meeting. Are there any questions or follow-up?
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board for the mayor's representative?
Jill.
Jill, please go ahead.
Hi, thank you, Kim, for that extensive report. I really appreciate that. I want to go back to the trees and the removal of Nuuanu Congregational Church. I just want to make sure that the report is not only about the concern about removing the debris, but also about altering the streamline with the massive amount of trees and debris that was removed from there. So that's I think primarily the concern, more so than also removing the debris, is that they're altering the streamline with the trees that were all on that riverbank.
Jill, do you mean that after the trees were removed, that the path of the stream was altered to a point where it's now not following the correct flow pattern?
Well, we are concerned that that is the case. We have not had huge rains, but if you look at that area, that is a flood zone. So by removing those trees, there's nothing that's going to hold back that river. So the water can go right up and then seep right through into all of the properties, including one of ours as well. So a couple of people came out to take a look. We did have, and I don't remember what department he came out and looked at, but he did say that there is a tree that has been cut With the roots now, there is a concern that once the roots start to die and shrivel away, that will leave deep pockets in all of that riverbank in that area.
Somebody from the city will come out?
I believe so. Yes. And I can get you that information. Tyler Dos Santos' representative came out. They were gracious enough to do that, as well as Representative Jenna Takeuchi was also a part of that as well. But again, these were hundreds-of-year-old trees that were actually pretty healthy, and they were just removed due to a few neighbors complaining. There was no research done by Nuuanu Congregational Church, and we had called them several times to actually ask them to stop. And they stopped midway, but the progression was so bad already at that point.
So you're actually saying, Joe, that the trees lining the stream help to block water?
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
And if you look at all of the reports, it shows that as well. You have these huge tree stumps that and debris that actually block the water from coming up. Now all you have is flat land with holes and pockets underneath from not only this time, but earlier cutting of the trees by Nuuanu Congregational Church. And Paula can actually give you a little bit of information on that as well, because she was part of that. And she's also part of the Nuuanu Stream division.
So do you know what Councilmember Dos Santos Tam's office or Representative Takenouchi's stated, I guess, the last position that they had or information that they had regarding this, and were they following up with the church?
There was supposed to be follow-up, and then we haven't really heard anything. And then, of course, everybody gets so busy, right? So we're just kind of sitting, waiting. Nothing is being done further in terms of them moving the trees. They did stop the project, but we want to make sure that that does not ever pick up again in the future, and that that area is carefully watched due to how it was cut and removed, since it is a flood zone.
Okay. Well, perhaps
I could just jump in quickly, if that's okay. Sorry to interrupt.
Sure.
I know you're talking about the stream issue. So DFM did go out there and do an assessment. I was having kind of a hard time getting a response from them, but I believe where it stands is DLNR and DFM both said that they don't have computers over this particular issue. But my office is looking into whether the church should have gotten a permit through DLNR. So, you know, Joe, I know the thing about changing the way the stream works, water diversion, like if there's something under maybe water diversion permitting questions that they should be filling out if they're going to be making major changes like that. So that's kind of where we are in my office.
Okay. Thanks, Representative. I think that does sound like the next step. So will you or your office be following up and reporting back to the board on that?
I can report back what we find out. And Jill, I have your contact information. I can send that to you directly as well. And I know Jan on your stream is also asking about it.
Yeah. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. I'm sorry, Jill, did that answer your question? Or?
It did. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from the board for the mayor's representative? Paula.
I know you had a long list of everything that went on. Many of it I do not agree with. That I feel that a lot of people have sent in testimonies as far as the Poly Highway and what is going on. As far as Jill's situation, which are many, with that stream, I'd hate to live there because you never know when you're going to get your house flooded. But Jill's not telling you that her house was flooded twice. Not once, twice. And
actually,
so I also...
Actually 3 times over all the years.
Oh, now it's coming out. True confession. Okay. Then you got to look at up above where it's Pauiva. That whole stream is clogged, and no one's even looking at it. So when I wrote my letters for Jill's house, I wrote to every single person, and Jenna can say she was there. And the neighbors came. Who else was there? Everybody came and looked at it, but we're still getting nowhere because what's going to happen if that water comes down and we have a big 100-year storm? Her house is going to get wiped out totally. And then as far as crossing the Poly Highway, I don't care who's doing what with that Poly Highway, but I want every single person in this neighborhood to try to cross that Poly Highway to get to work in the morning. And as far as the light at Wood Street, it was attached to Wood Street at that place because I asked for the bus stop to be put in. When the state DOT, with their highlights on up above, they took out that light for the people there. And that's the highest place for all the homeless who were and are still living in the grass and sleeping there, including even the church down below. And you're gonna, if everybody believes all the stuff that you said, it's not true. Go try ride that bus. Go try cross the Poly Highway. We're gonna have more people dead. And on the testimonies every time it says we're gonna get more deaths on the Poly because nobody's listening. And I believe that whoever's responsible on the Poly, who contracted it out to the city, and they're not telling the state and they're not talking to each other, there you go again with a contract that's not working for the people of Nuuanu. Not at all. And I say baloney, baloney, and lupchong to everybody that's saying, oh, this and that. And get over there and cross the Poly Highway when you got to go to work in the morning. And only one person? That's a lie. That's a lie. And maybe it was taken during COVID. Who took that? Who took that thing? Because we got people in my neighborhood that are riding the bus down. Even I got a bus thing I can catch to go down in case of an emergency. I want to tell Mr. Blanchard, I guess I got the right words, that a lot of that stuff is not true. Not true at all.
Okay, so Paula, what I'll do is I'll follow up with both DTS and DOT, or I'll work through NCO to follow up. I'm gonna find out more information regarding how they measure the duration in crossing. Do you think that there is any possibility that people are starting to cross while the light or after the light is white and that it's starting to blink? Are they starting to cross?
We have people listening to you now that got to go across every morning at 6 o'clock in the morning. And during winter months, it's, not lit. We lost the light at Wood Street by the legislature. After 3 years, we don't get a light at Wood Street. We don't get one. They lost the money, and that was Senator Carl Rhodes. It wasn't his particular problem, but when using old money, legislature didn't look at that. Not. Because we're in the middle. Why Kanaka and between Country Club Road, it's dangerous to us. For anybody.
Okay,
Thank you. I'm sorry I'm getting mad, but this is ridiculous.
No,
Jill, somebody needs to go over there and look at it.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or concerns from the board? How about from the community?
Robert.
Robert, please go ahead.
Hi, thank you, Chair. Hi, good evening, Team Hashiro. I have two comments. First, I'd like to congratulate DFM. There was some concern a few months back with a lot of overgrowth. It almost appeared as if our community was being neglectful. But getting in touch with Councilmember Dos Santos Tam's office and DFM, they've been terrific. They've been really coming back regularly. In fact, recently they cut the hillside at Hawaii Limu, not just a walking path. But the walking path from Owailimo on the bottom of Prospect over and down to Lusitania is heavily used. So I really appreciate it. And it looks like this morning DFM painted bus stop 828. So on that, I'd just like to say thank you to DFM. We just put a call out, and these past few months, they've been just really terrific. So I really appreciate that. If you can pass on that to DFM, I would appreciate it. And then I also want to comment on the misunderstanding or miscommunication between the obstruction at the bus stop. So whoever reported to you that there was no obstruction to the bus routes, I think that might have been a supervisor, not a bus driver. So the problem is that the buses have to stop on the street. They're not able to pull along the sidewalk. So when the buses lower themselves to allow passengers on and off, it's a easier step onto the bus from the sidewalk. Now, when there's obstructions to the bus stop, the bus driver doesn't pull over to the side and he stops in the middle of the road. So no cars can pass. The cars have to wait until the passengers get on, and the bus is not able to lower itself to a safe entry and exit. Now, for myself, and just being a little personal, I am a person with disability. I have my second spinal surgery next month. And there's times where I would never go to that bus stop because of the obstructions and the difficulty getting on. Sometimes I have a hard time standing up. Sometimes walking is extremely painful. So this might be communicated through the lens of people who don't have disabilities, or through people who are not senior citizens and are failing to understand how important this issue is, that the bus be allowed to pull over next to the sidewalk and to lower itself, especially for people on wheelchairs. And I'll send you some pictures. I have your email. Like, for example, this morning, there was 2 dumpsters in front of the bus stop. Almost impossible for a person with disability to navigate safely. So the communication you got, with my experience with bus drivers, I suspect might have been an administrator who just saw that the buses were able to get around that day. Because bus drivers are extremely passionate about helping ADA, in my experience. The times that I have ridden the bus drivers are they're very wonderful people, very compassionate, and they go out of their way to help ADA people in the public. But this situation, it's a long time abuse, and so 828 is a bus stop right in front of my home. Instead of using a bus, I call Motive Care, or I opt for Uber. And I know bus stop 829, this past Sunday, there was a dumpster left in front of bus stop 829, well past 3 p.m. And normally they come in our neighborhood between the hours of 4:30 to 6 to move the rubbish can out, the dumpsters out. So I'm looking at possibly 8 to 10 hours of that can being in front of a bus stop. So can you please talk to your superiors and see if maybe there is something that can be done? And I'll send to you a link to how California has handled this problem. So California on their buses have put a camera that faces out. So I know at this time you've explained that the bus company is protecting the bus driver and the passengers on the bus. But at this point, I'd like to expand to those getting on and off the bus. So for the ability for the bus to have safe entry and exit at all bus stops and not to be obstructed. And, I'd like to appeal to everyone's understanding. Most people on this board probably can step up and down without pain and without a cane. It's not like that for everyone.
Chodai.
Thank you, Kim.
So Robert, if you could send me those the photos via email, that would be helpful, and I will through the NCO office will follow up. And I don't know who is relaying this position from OTS that they're not having any issues, but we can ask again and just relay that there's still this concern, and the community is still reporting these issues, and ask them to take another look. I think what you're saying about the bus drivers, it would be great also if the bus drivers could share this concern with their supervisors so that it is relayed you know, up through their chain of command too, because I don't know who exactly they're speaking to.
Yes, yes, I appreciate that. And I've been trying to look how to get in touch with them. I have a cousin who retired from the bus about 6 years ago, and he did say that that is one of the good routes. So I'm still trying to figure out how to get in touch with them so that the bus drivers can make the complaint also. But perhaps you might be able to help me find a person I can talk to. But I
Well,
appreciate it.
DTS can identify a point of contact through OTS, so we can ask DTS to do that.
Okay, I'll stay in touch. Thank you, Kim.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions from anybody for the mayor's representative?
Pat Tyra.
Pat Tyra, please go ahead.
I'm very curious as to the age and physical condition of the people you use to test how fast they can get across Pali Highway. Because it's very difficult to cross even at the crosswalks that have the traffic lights. I think a lot of people don't realize that in certain areas, the Pali Highway is 8 lanes wide. Not just 4 or 6, it's 8 lanes wide. You have the 3 lanes of traffic, you have the left turn lane, and then you have in certain areas the bus lane, the 3rd lane on the side, the 4th lane on the side, I should say. So you try crossing 8 lanes on a wheelchair, or if you have been injured, or if you have a handicap. At one point, I had torn my hamstring and I had to cross Pali Highway to get to the bus stop. And that was not easy to do. That was extremely painful. Luckily, I have recovered so that I don't experience that anymore, but it took 5 years to heal from that. And if only the people who make these decisions, the directors, the supervisors, they should ride the bus themselves. They should also try crossing Pali Highway where there is no signal lights to see how dangerous it is. For younger people, yeah, we can run. And prior to my injury, I could run. In fact, I had to run one day so that I could prevent myself from being killed, because people don't pay attention at all to the traffic as they come speeding down Pali Highway. They're not looking. They're not noticing. They're going so fast. They don't notice people on the sidewalk trying to cross the highway. So these people who are testing to see how long and it's safe enough, if they're young, it's not, it doesn't make any sense. You need to have people who are older, who are compromised in their movements, people in wheelchairs trying to cross Pali Highway. And now that bus 121 has been discontinued, we're forced to cross the highway. And nobody's done anything. No one's helping. So you haven't even come to us and asked for ideas as to how we can remedy the situation. I mean, one of the thoughts were, why not let the number 4 bus continue their route all the way up like they used to? And if that is not possible, how about every other number 4 bus continue all the way up to Opali Road and back down again? You need to consider everything to make it safer and easier for everybody, not just seniors and not just disabled people, but for everyone to get around, because right now you've isolated a whole bunch of people, right? Okay, so make sure that when you test to see how fast or how long the lights have to be, that it's someone who is, more of a senior, has some movement difficulties, just getting old and getting stiffer, that they cannot move as fast as a 20-year-old. They can't.
So Pat, what I can do is definitely relay your concerns again, and we'll follow up. Can have NCO follow up on this. It's obviously something that is still, you know, the community is not satisfied with the responses provided, so we can resubmit and ask for more information, because what you're saying about, you know, who is testing and how they're measuring the pace is something that they should be able to provide. So I'll follow up on that and we'll get a response. As far as how they test, I'm interested to find out also, you know, what their process is.
Okay. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you. Are there anything further? Paula.
Sorry I keep talking, but I want to tell you, Kim, thank you for being nice about all this and putting up with us. But in 2 years ago, I turned in a thing to the state regarding the ramps and sidewalks in the Dowsett area. And I tried to tell and took pictures of everything so people know that we do have disabled. They're going to think we're downtown Chicago now with the speeding, but we do need someone to look at the ramps, etc. And I don't know how that fits into one visioning or visioning one or whatever it's called, but because I turned in 16, maybe 30 pictures to somebody that went from the aged to over in the state, who I don't know whoever received it, what they're doing about the Dowsett Circle, because we have a number of people in wheelchairs, and we do have a number of people that try to catch the bus, but they're all scared now because of the loss of 121 and 04. And as a physical therapist, I think this is all raw, and we really need someone to look at it under ADA, including the Poly Highway and all the problems. Thank you.
Thank you. Director, what I've been saying this to a number of people, we looked at the poly safety pedestrian issues from a state perspective, but there are so many different facets of this issue. It would be nice if the city had some resource like a committee or something that they could take a look at all these issues, because it does metastasize out to like curbs, crossing the street, all kind of issues. So please, if you would report back to your superiors just that it's been a problem for years, and it's a lot of little issues, but it all involves Poly Highway. So I would just leave you to that thought. But thank you very much. We appreciate you coming out, and I know that's a trying, but we appreciate your help. Thank you.
Thank you. It's love.
Thank you.
Love.
Thank you,
Next
everyone.
up, we have, thank you, Director. Next up, we have Council Member Tyler DeSantos Tam. Is the council member or representative for him here?
Everyone, yeah, I'm here. Lisa had a family emergency come up this evening, so she has a list of items. I don't, but I'm happy to report on a few things that my office is working on legislatively. Bill 44 is the bill that deals with false inspectors. This specifically deals with the issue. There's a lot of feedback. I'm not quite sure what that's about. Just FYI. But what we are doing is we created a framework by which somebody who habitually makes false statements to a building permit inspector or in their application for a building permit would get basically marked as a person who habitually makes such statements and could be penalized accordingly. That may include things like not applying for building permits for a period of a year or two. It may include things like demolition of structures that for which false information has been provided. So we're determining that at our November meeting of the Executive Matters Legal Affairs Committee. We're going to be taking that up. We also have a package of legislation that deals with illegal game rooms. Illegal game rooms are in every community. It's not just in the ones you might think of. Our research has found them in basically all neighborhoods around the island. So we have Bills 57 and 58, which Bill 57 allows for game rooms to be declared a public nuisance, which allows various city departments to take fairly swift action on these. And then Bill 58 allows DPP to work with HPD to allow HPD's evidence to be the basis for a building permit complaint. And that goes to the landlord, and the landlord can be fined rather than the game room operator. In terms of some of these specific things that were brought up to Kim, I know my staff has been working on a number of these things. Thanks to Jill for flagging that my office has been in touch with her on that issue. I know a lot of the poly highway things that were brought up are under the state's jurisdiction. The state does have to follow some of these federal guidelines with respect to timing of traffic lights and things like that. I also know that Route 121 continues to be an issue with respect to the number of people who are without bus service, as well as the number of people who purportedly used the bus, and whether those counts are accurate. I will note that the city standard for a circulator bus is 20 passengers per hour, which I think when we discussed with DTS, that's kind of their standard. The next lowest bus ridership is the bus that goes up Waialae Nui, and I think they have something like 7 passengers an hour. And so it's a challenge for us to have this conversation with DTS, where it's only a few passengers at most per hour, and to ask them to continue it when there's a lot of other service around the island that's needed. So that's just something I'm going to put out there as the sort of reality of the situation. I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say, we're going to bring back bus 121 tomorrow. So I just want everyone to understand that, that's sort of the reality of how this is determined.
Thank you, council member. Are there any questions from the board for the council member? Paula. You muted, Paula.
As a taxpayer and paying to the city and all that, since I don't have bus service, can I pay less taxes then? Because you're leaving a small amount of people out who do pay taxes.
I understand the argument.
And I want to know how I can get my taxes down because I don't have a bus. And I am disabled and I can ride the bus, but you take everything away from us that is in this area. What are we going to do even when we need caregivers? It's ridiculous. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions from the board or concerns? Do we have any questions or concerns from the community? Hearing none. Councilmember, I would kind of reiterate what I mentioned to Director Ashiro, that the problem is it seems like we're getting in the weeds on a lot of this. We talk about the bus, we talk about this particular light, and I know your office did a wonderful job in Makiki with that 5-point intersection. I think that was well planned out. If we could have some joint effort, because we do have this project, I think it's Project Vision or Vision Zero is what it is for the state. And there really does, all these parts are, it's part of like a clock. And if we could have some sort of task force, I hate to do that again for the government, that's like the worst, but it really is needed this time. I mean, it really is needed in this area because there's so many facets to this. So if that's something you could think about, maybe we could get our state officials involved too, and just have everyone, the policyholders come together and sort of brainstorm some ways we can serve the community and make sure our pedestrians are safe. Thank you, sir.
No, Chair, I really appreciate that approach and that idea. I think that approach is the right one because it does take multiple stakeholders. I will note that going back to Route 121 and some of these other policy decisions that were kind of years in the making, I will note that DTS's standard of 20 people an hour per circulator bus is from a policy document from 2012. That policy document at some point is going to be renewed, and when it's up for renewal and further consideration, I hope that the board, will come and say, hey, there are exceptions, right? There are areas that need this. Similarly, we are about to embark on the primary urban center plan, which is the development plan for all of kind of from Kalihi to Kahala. That plan, in that plan, I'd like to see them say every resident within the primary urban center deserves, bus service within a reasonable distance, I don't know, a quarter of a mile or something. And it would be really helpful to have a resolution from the board or some testimony from the board when we go through that planning exercise, which should pick up later this year, to have that level of input, right? All of these policy calls kind of work together. And I want to make sure that the community is involved in that planning for the next however many years.
Thank you. And I would add, so when those come up, and just let us know, please do. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Next up, we have the governor's representative. Is William here tonight?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. Oh, great to see you back.
Hey, thanks again. William New, governor's representative. Sorry for missing the last two meetings. We were deployed to assist with the Maui wildfire, but now we're back in rotation to the neighborhood boards again. So, just a quick summary for the governors. As you're aware, there was a wildfire on Maui, and the state has fielded critical operations and response to it in a range of responsibilities. One of the ones I do want to highlight as we kind of are 2 months out is, if you weren't aware, the governor under Governor Green, there is a new Office of Wellness and Resiliency. And one of the things I wanted to highlight is the mental health response, as we're about 2 months out and people are dealing with the lingering effects of mental health. Through the Office of Wellness and Resiliency, there is the Hawaii Cares Hotline, which provides local counselors, ready to assist with any discussions that you may want to have or individuals you feel may need support. And they can be reached at 808-832-3100. That's 808-832-3100. Or they can be contacted by text at 988. Oh, just 988. They also have translators for multilingual support. I'll post the link to the newsletter in the chat following this for a little more information, but there is a nice write-up and summary about some of their response to the Maui wildfire, and that's something that I think is very important to highlight for those that are in distress or may need support, not just in response to the wildfire, but this is available for all individuals. An initiative that the governor has wanted to kind of push forward. I think you might have reported on it last month, but I know there was a inquiry received from the board that I was able to send over to the chair, and so they'll regarding just ADA accessibility on some streets within the area. I guess this is Pulelehua Way, near the Country Club Road. If it was reported on, but I'll just kind of shoot it out there. If it wasn't spoken to last month, the DOT was able to review it, and they've identified that they did go out to do an ADA survey for the Poly Highway improvements, phase 2 between Waikanaka Street and Vineyard Boulevard. There is a section of the sidewalk near the Soka Gakkai Buddhist Center, near Lamai Road, where I guess there is a fire hydrant that is too close to the utility pole. So they've looked at it and realized that it is not ADA compliant. So they are looking into the issue, but they are aware of it. And there's pictures of them, measuring it, and it's because it's 36 inches, which is too short for accessibility.
Yes.
But
generally,
that's. Thank you. Go ahead, please.
Oh no, and that's just the end of my report for today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from the board? Paula. You're muted, Paula.
Hulele hoa in Hawaiian means butterfly, so that everyone knows. And that has been non-accessible to wheelchairs going all the way up to Wood Street. What my idea was to get everybody with ADA protection on the whole highway, but there's like more than 5 places where a wheelchair cannot go and people that are blind cannot go. So I just want to tell you that Pu'iwa, which is down further by Country Club Road, means scary, frightened in Hawaiian. And so just going up the Pali, we've at least got something at Queen Emma and something across. But now you're looking at Country Club Road, which I just asked the Oahu Country Club to clean up so a wheelchair didn't get stuck there, which it did. And so the more we look at it, and then further up between Wood and Wakanaka, there is another area that does not have sidewalk. So now that we've lost 121, you can't even get to the bus stop there. And that's where the homeless and the pigs are. So if you know that area, and the other part is we cannot get a light at Wood Street to get across because the legislature turned us down 3 times. So all those things factored in, and which Patrick Smith keeps telling you is a puzzle that needs to really be solved for the disabled and for the seniors and for everyone needing to cross. It's a dangerous, dangerous situation. So, Ulele Hua, yes, go for it. Up to the Wood Street crossing, that would be even better. We can get all that in with a light, of course. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions or concerns from the board? Do we have any questions or concerns from the community? Robert.
Thank you, Chair. Aloha, good evening, William. I'd just like to send a big mahalo to the Department of Transportation. We've been asking for some attention on South Kuakini Street, the off-ramp coming up to Lusitana, and the off-ramp going up Pacific Heights Road. And it's been put off for various reasons for all these years, but we started communicating almost around 2019, definitely by 2020. There's records, board records of numerous discussions with DTS as well as DOT. We weren't sure at first who had jurisdiction, but I'm extremely pleased. And one of the complaints I had when I initially brought the concern up about repaving was the quality of life. So for a person with disability, and when you suffer pain and when you drive on a lot of potholes that surrounds your home, it really changes your quality of life. So I'd like to say thank you very much to DOT. They've not only done the job that we've asked, but they've done it with high quality. I'm extremely pleased with the results of the road surfacing that's going on by DOT, and not just in our area. I recognize the quality that's being done on the freeway also. And I just like to say, as compared to road work that I've seen before, and I participated in as a young adult with resurfacing, the crew is doing a really great job. So I'd like to say thank you for paying attention to our concerns and finally getting it done, and getting it done in a really high quality fashion, and managing the traffic on top of that. So the traffic flow during construction has been fantastic. So the crew that's out there right now is just, I'm really impressed. So please, if you can send my appreciation, I'd appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Everything, we'll convey that over to the team. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or concerns from anybody? Hearing none, William, thank you very much. I will add that, as I mentioned to the last 2 elected officials, if you would take up to the governor that pedestrian safety is a big concern. So if you would suggest that that he supports some sort of holistic approach to safety issues around the Poly Highway. Thank you very much. We appreciate your time, and nice to see you again.
Thank you.
Good night. Next up, we have Senator Rhodes, which I believe he is out of town, so we will have a representative.
Sarah.
Sarah.
Hello. Good afternoon,
Evening.
everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Sarah Thorne, and I'm an intern for Senator Rhodes. Unfortunately, he's unable to be here, but I will be relaying all of his messages. So starting off, the red light safety program is now in effect and live in multiple different locations. And with that, the red light safety program only issues citations for vehicles that are running red lights, as opposed to those that are turning illegally on red. So currently there are 10 intersections that are live for these citations, and a total of 6,877 citations have been issued.
Wow.
I've received word from the Hawaii Department of Transportation that they did not receive federal grant money for the Cap Park project. I will follow up with HDOT to find out if they are still going to pursue this project and will return to the board with any updates. I also plan to contact USDOT to see what other possibilities there might be. I am currently working with Councilmember Tyler DeSantos Tam's office and the Department of Land and Natural Resources and the pig hunters in addressing the feral pig problem. I will continue to update the board with any progress. Last week, the Department of Health reported 683 new COVID cases with a 7-day average of 90 cases and 8 deaths. COVID-19 remains a top 10 cause of death in this country and has claimed the lives of more than 1.1 million Americans. I strongly encourage you to get your shots and boosters. A new booster should now be available. I also encourage you to wear a mask indoors, especially if you or someone you live with is at risk. We're having a little bit of a resurgence and the virus is still circulating. So with that, flu shots are now available. Please do not hesitate to call my office at 808-586-6130 with any questions or concerns, or email me at senroads@capital.hawaii.gov.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from the board for Carl Rhodes' representative?
Sylvia.
Sylvia.
Sarah, you know, the U.S. Postal Service free COVID tests is out again. It started on October the 2nd, and people could submit there because I already got my set for my household, and so is the new upgraded version of the Pfizer COVID shots are also became available the first week of October because they were out for a while and then the new supply came in on the first week. So I got both. I got everything. Now I'm just waiting for the respiratory one to come out and I'll go and take the respiratory one. But
Yes, I have also ordered mine. So I can put the link right after this. I can put the link for the U.S. Postal Service to get your free COVID test. And I believe you get 4 tests per one household.
yes. And the other thing is, I know that Senator Rhodes is away in Indiana again and that his father is back in the hospital. So would you tell him that we send our prayers?
I will sure tell him. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from the board? Are there any questions or concerns from the community? Sarah, thank you very much. Yes, and pass on our best wishes to the senator. Oh, can I ask one last thing? Is when I know you're probably collecting ideas for legislation all the time, but I mean, when is sort of the, I guess, the deadline, or you know, that you really want to formulate your ideas for the next session?
I would say definitely before the year's over. So I would say around December, maybe a little before.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Next up, thank you. Next up, we have Representative Jenna Takanushi. Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hold on just a second, Sarah? Oh, Jenna, just one second. I see Paula. Paula, did you have a late question?
I want to know from both the legislators if they've done anything or checked anything for Puiva Bridge, as to if anything has been done as far as Puiva Bridge and where it is, because I sent letters to each one of you regarding Puiva and how it's plugged at the top, right at the bridge, all kinds of things growing in the stream, where Jill Easley at the bottom, Jill Easley Allen will be affected. And because I sent that in to you folks and also to Ed Case, I'm going to ask everyone who has done anything or does anyone know anything about getting it cleaned out so no one is flooded. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So Sarah, if you would take, unless you have something to add, you could take that back to the senator and hopefully he can look into that and go forward.
Yes, I can definitely take this back to. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Please go ahead.
No, I'll definitely take this back to Senator Rhodes. I know he's very adamant on getting bridges and like streams cleaned up, so I will definitely be taking this back to him.
Thank you very much. So we appreciate it. So next up, and I'm sorry to Representative Takanuchi that we interrupted you. Please go ahead.
No problem. I was just going to say, I think Paula had a question before we moved on to me.
Okay, thank you.
And Paula, yes, we got your concern about that bridge, and we did put a request in to the city to take a look at getting that. I haven't heard back yet, but we did put the request in. And I'll let you guys know as soon as I hear anything back. Unfortunately, no other updates on the other two things that I know are waiting for responses back on. That was the status of Paula's question about the hurricane evacuation shelters at Nuuanu Elementary School, as well as the school crossing signs. So those are still active things that we're waiting to hear back on, but I have them on my list. Of the bridge maintenance, and then the Nuuanu stream issue by Joe carried out. Sorry, I know government was slow sometimes, but I do have all those things that I'm and I'll let you guys know as soon as I hear anything back. I just have one short thing to share before this month. I know it's getting late. So October is Stop the Ant Month in Hawaii. This is actually a multi-agency effort to identify and hopefully eradicate from Oahu the little fire ant. I know Paoa Valley had a kind of situation they were monitoring, and I believe they were able to eradicate a couple of years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And Papakalea actually has some sites that they're monitoring to see if there's any kind of establishment of colonies. So I would really encourage everybody this month, and actually all year, but they're really focusing on it this month. The Invasive Species Council will give you free tests. I've been told they're very simple. It's just kind of like some sticky stuff. You put it on a little end of a tube and you mail it to them so they can test your ant samples to see what kind of ants in your neighborhood. They're just trying to track to see if there's a presence of little fire ants anywhere in our communities. So, you just like put this in your backyard and collect a sample of ants, mail it in, just to give them more information about where on Oahu it's spreading. I know there are pockets where it's getting really bad on Oahu, and we're trying to keep it from being established like it is on Hawaii Island. So I'll put a bunch of links into the chat where you can just go or call in and get a free test sent to you. I hope if you have just maybe 5 or 10 minutes, you could just participate and help them out. We really want to make sure this doesn't kind of come to our neighborhood, because they're really bad invasive species to have. That's just kind of my one little thing. If there's anything else I can take back and work on, just let me know.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from the board for Representative Takanuchi? Go ahead, Paula.
I know that Kaneohe has, and I know Kahalu'u has, and then I know above Roosevelt School closest to Papakolea had, because I'd reported at one time. But I wanted to know if they're still using the peanut butter stick idea and catching them and putting them in a plastic bag to send into the laboratory to find out if they really are the fire ant or what the testing kit looks like. Because if I tell people use peanut butter and then they've changed it and not sugar, but peanut butter, is there a change there for the procedure?
I want to say that's what they still do, and I believe the test kit does come with instructions. I just know, yeah, one of our Windward legislators just did like a little testing in their community, and I believe that's what she told me it was like
Right.
when they came out and showed them how to do the samples.
Still doing peanut butter then?
Yeah, I think it's like easy and works well. So
Yes, very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from the board? I'm sorry, who?
Kaapuni.
Oh, Kaapuni.
Mahalo, Chair. Aloha, Jenna. So this past weekend, we had some volunteers come out and clear behind the Po'oa Bone House between Po'oa Elementary and Awelimu Street. And we cleared back there because, you know, as our public babies, they walk down there to get to school. And even some of the Po'oa keiki who got to come out, you know, you walk to Roosevelt or whatnot. We've been wanting to reach out to you and Tyler. We're not sure who and what department. We've talked about this before, but we wanted to see about rebuilding the bridge that used to go over the ditch. We are very concerned from community. Our keiki go into that ditch and climb back out. And then when it rains, they have to go walk actually in through the cemetery to get behind the Po'oa Bone House to get to school. So I just kind of wanted to put that on your radar. We've talked about it before, and you know, life happens, everyone gets busy. But yeah, if we can just figure out, I think we know that is not DHHL property. DHHL property is more toward the bridge, but behind Hi'ilani. But when you pass, I want to say it's Pravito Baker's Hale, right on the end. And I believe someone had shared with us that's DLNR property, but they don't maintain that space. So really it gets overgrown, but the path is there. And there used to be a bridge, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 years ago. I mean, I don't know. We used to have it at Po'oa Summer Fun back in the day. But that bridge has been down for a really long time. And I don't know, you know, how that happened or what the story is, but our children still use that walkway to get to school. So I just kind of wanted to put that in your ear. If we can figure that out and work on that, community would really appreciate that. But mahalo.
yes, thank you. And yes, I think it also came up at the listening hour. Tyler and Del Albalati from the other side of the hill had a couple weeks ago. So yes, that is that. I think Gary Wright is state property. I think I want to say my office already sent a letter in, but I will confirm that, and then I can put that on my list of things to bring back and update the board.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or concerns from the board? How about from the community? Thank you very much, Representative Sakanuchi. We appreciate your time this evening, and nice to see you again. Good night. Next up, we have. Are there any other elected officials that we don't have on our agenda that would like to be heard at this time? Hearing none, we can move on to our board business. I would remind the board that pursuant to state sunshine law, that when we conduct board business, we're supposed to have a majority of our, well, ideally all of our board members on video. So please note that. If you can, please do engage your video at this time. The first issue we have is Route 121, the bus. I mean, we have talked about it sort of extensively. I don't know if we want to add anything at this time. Does anyone want to? Or any board members, I should say. All right, is there anybody from the community that would like to weigh in on this? Okay, so it is a continuing issue. I will keep it on our agenda. So until we have some sort of issue or resolution, maybe in the future, which hopefully we'll get. But next up, we have our early morning trash collection, both the noise issue and the placement of the dumpsters. We talked about this extensively also, but I just want to, Robert said he knew one of the bus drivers. Well, I talked to one of the bus drivers, and they told me as a practical matter, there's a form they can fill out, but usually they just fill it out, and all their superiors tell them is to just avoid whatever the obstruction is. So I don't know how that's going to work, and I've heard from other boards that getting the bus officials is very extremely difficult, and I haven't really heard of any success. So I'll just leave it at that. There might be other ways of pursuing this, but that's difficult. But anyway, would anyone like to be heard on this? Anything further?
Philip.
Philip, please go ahead.
Hey, good evening, Chair. I was just wondering if, because the bus stop in question that Robert's talking about, not only that area, but if you go a little bit more closer to even where Kuakini comes up and meets Lusitana, they also have another bus stop there that there's a dumpster that's there as well, causing the same issue. So I know you'd mentioned, Chair Smith, about extending an invitation to that company to join our board, our neighborhood board meeting. But if they refuse, or they don't have an obligation to honor that if they choose not to. Is that correct?
Well, we are an advisory board. So yes, they can refuse, but hopefully, I just got the information earlier, and so I'll reach out to the company itself for the point of contact I got from Robert. So.
I'm really optimistic that if we can get a representative there on our board meeting to really hear the concerns, and because it's been going on for so long, and I agree, I see the same things that Robert has mentioned, myself, on that street, and the one that's closer to Kuakini Street is right across the street from my house. So I see that. One of these mornings, though, I'm going to get up extra early, especially on that Saturday, and because I see them on Saturdays, I'm up pretty early, so I'll get up extra early, and I'll do my best to try and get some video and stuff like that. But again, it's inviting them is not meant to, beat them up over the head about anything, but just to address our concerns and the valid concerns that the community has, especially in that area, for having access to the bus services. But that's all I have.
Okay, well, I'll certainly pursue that for next month. So we did pursue both trying to get the bus and DTS, in which they actually said it wasn't under DTS, it's under, and I think I forwarded a copy of that email to you, didn't I, about follow-up?
Yes, I saw that, and then hopefully Lieutenant Segusio also, his willingness to want to be on that.
Right. So that's
be on the call with the and we can really just kind of discuss things, professionally and make sure that everybody has an awareness and understanding of what's going on, and then how we can remedy the situation.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone want to add anything further?
Yeah, Robert and then Paula.
Robert.
I'd just like to thank you, Chair, and the board for taking the time to understand this issue. And I'd just like to make sure that it's on the agenda for next month as a continuing issue. But we've discussed it well tonight, and I appreciate Board Member Soon also understanding the challenges. So if it can be a continuing concern, and I look forward to bringing together the administrators that will help to make a difference. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. It will be. I'll put it on the agenda, since hopefully we'll get a representative from the company. Paula.
As long as we have a pro and a con on that subject, we are safe. So that is a good idea. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Pat Tierra.
Hi. Robert, don't stop fighting for this because at Wood Street, at one point, there was a sign that said, it's you by state law, you had to stop for pedestrians in the crosswalk. And that sign was like 4 feet out from the curb. And it wasn't, and the bus stop was right there. So the bus could not pull up to the curb. And basically, it is dangerous for seniors or anybody because you're right, the bus does not get down low enough when it just stops on the street. And hopefully, it doesn't come to the point where the city gets sued by someone who gets hurt because they fell out of the bus. So don't stop fighting for this. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything further from the community of the board? Hearing none, this will be on the agenda for next month, so it's not going anywhere anytime soon. Hopefully, we can see it through to having some sort of resolution. So next up, we have Papakale'a community concerns. Typically, Adrian takes the lead. Adrian, are you available, or Ka'apuni? Would you like to speak on this, or do you have anything?
Hey everybody. Yeah, sorry Auntie Adrian wasn't able to join tonight. I think kind of for us, we have a trunk or treat event happening at Lincoln on Sunday, October 29th. It's a Sunday, right before Halloween. So that'll be at Lincoln. We're gonna start about 5:30 for the babies. So please come and join us. And let me see what else. What was that? It was the bridge, and we're still working on those speed bumps on Tannis Drive because speeding is still happening through the hills. But yeah, I think that's kind of it for us. But
Great. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. And it's great to have you back. I hope you, I'm sure you did great work in Maui, so thank you very much. I see Paula. Paula, did you have a question or concern?
I just want to say about the bridge, as far as I remember in my old age, that bridge, part of it is owned privately, and when another part is owned by city and county. So that might be one of your problems to find out if someone really does privately own it. That might settle a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything further? Thank you, Kahapuni. Appreciate it. So next up, we were just to have a discussion of in-person meeting for the next month. Hopefully, there won't be any problems with COVID or anything, but Sylvia did facilitate well, it looks like it could happen. It's not 100%, but Sylvia did facilitate going back to Pa'oa Elementary. So the question is, and someone mentioned to me about making it a meeting in person only. I personally might be a little hesitant to that because I know that some people, it just may not be possible. So what I'd like to do is just continue to make it a hybrid, but really request the board come out in person. It'll be an opportunity for us to meet each other. What I'd like to do is also have a time for a photograph of all the board members. So anyway, if anyone has any thoughts, we would have the meeting at Pa'oa Elementary. We still will have unless everybody just says we want to do it completely in person, we'll have a hybrid link. So, and we may need to have that anyway for a lot of the elected officials. And I mean, I've been to some that they do it in person, but I don't think anybody has exclusively. So we may have to actually, I didn't really think that through, but we may have to actually hybrid link anyway. But any comments? Okay. Hearing nothing, I'll look forward to seeing everybody in person. Hopefully that'll work out. We'll just formalize it and I'll let everybody know. But let's expect at this point to meet at Pa'oa Elementary.
Ray G.
Pardon, Ray G, did you have something you wanted to comment on? You're muted.
Yeah, I really like hybrid because I have early hours and I'm like, I can't stay up that late. So these meetings tend to go quite long. and just ending it right away and then getting to my thing so I can hit the bed and go to sleep and get up at 4 in the morning every day. So that's just my comment.
Okay,
So
well, that's understandable. And I realize, I think after just quickly thinking it through, we're gonna have to do a hybrid meeting simply for our other attendees. But if you can, it's like coming on video, if you can, please try. It would be really nice to see everybody in person at least once all together. But do what you can. I understand there are things that's unavoidable. Paula.
I think if this COVID is going to continue and then we're all exposed, whatever, we may want to look at that and figure out what the stats are. But I agree that it would be nice to be hybrid or in there. You know what I mean? So depends on what this epidemic's going to do on this next go around. For me, as a cardiac, okay, over.
Right.
Bye.
Well, I mean, I'd expect everybody to do what they feel comfortable and what's safe for the individual. And, you know, we can set it up, and if COVID is a problem, I can say, hey, maybe we won't do the photograph, but we're just play it by ear. But thank you. Is there anything further? Sylvia.
Okay, Patrick, I'm going to try to be there very on the 21st. I'll go and find transportation to get there. Even though it's only a block down the street from me, but I can't walk that far.
Well, let me know. I'll come pick you up.
Okay, if that's the case, I'll be there.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Paula, did you? Okay, Paula, go ahead. You're muted, Paula. Paula, you're muted. Okay. There's some technical problem. Well, let's move on. Next up, we have approval of the August 15th minutes. I had a discussion with someone who wanted to make some corrections and wanted a little bit more time, but I would suggest that the board, you know, we can always technically go back, but let's go ahead, since they were in our packet last month, if we could go ahead and get any proposed corrections for the August 15th minutes. Does anyone have any amendments they want to offer at this time? Hearing none, they will be adopted as distributed. Next up, which is in your packet, the approval or adoption of the September 19th minutes. Does anyone want to offer any corrections or amendments? Hearing none, they will be adopted as distributed. Thank you very much. Is there any further board business? Hearing none, we can move over to our announcements. And most of my announcements, Paula already went all through. So I just have one, and that is about pole installation. And this is for HECO. There will be either replaced or an installed pole at 34 Ala Chemo Drive and 3221 Allen Place. I don't have dates, but just so you know. That's really it. And then our next meeting will be hopefully at Paola Elementary, and it's scheduled for Tuesday, October 21st at 7 o'clock. And remember that we're on a Lolo at Thursdays at 6 p.m. Okay.
Yes, first Thursday.
First Thursday. So please check that out. And remember, all of our minutes, all of our draft minutes that go out, it has our YouTube, the YouTube video of or that's actually when they approved them. I'm sorry. When they're approved, or no, even draft, right?
It's in the our website, but this one is all the reports.
Yeah, sorry, it's on the report. So anybody who wants to go back and watch a video of our meeting, the link is right there. So, are there any further announcements? Sorry, it was a little clunky. Thank you very much. Hope to see everybody next month. For those that can't, I'm sorry, but hopefully we'll see you. So have a great evening, everyone. Stay safe. Good night. I call it adjourned.